Welcome to part 1 of Upright Adventure. I did a trip from Ravenshoe, Queensland to the top of Australia last year. I wanted to share this video to show you can do a big trip like this for less than $1,000. First things first, we need a bike. As we all know, it's best to purchase these at 11 PM at a Macca's car park somewhere.
Oh wow, look at it.
And this is exactly what I did. The guy was sketchy, so I couldn't get any footage. So I've done a bit of a reenactment.
I think it's all there. Alright. All one? Oh wow.
Before going on a big trip, it's important to make sure your bike is in good condition. I did a couple of test rides and I found out that their water impeller needed replacing and also that the wheel bearings were gone. I replaced these and did a basic service before I left. Now for the fun part, putting random things off the internet onto your bike because you saw it on adventure videos. I had an old set of bark busters that I put in the fire to get them down to the bare aluminium. I like the look of these better. I went to a bunch of effort installing this light bar I got from Aldi, only to find out I only rode during the day and it fell off anyway on the corrugations. It's a good idea to test your luggage before you leave. I didn't do this, and in the last photo you can see I used curtain rods to hold the luggage together. You can see here at the start I'm carrying 15 litres of extra fuel and 10 litres of extra water. By the end of the trip I was only carrying 1 water bottle and 5 litres of extra fuel. I only needed a little bit of fuel to get time off work anyway. The day came and I had to say goodbye to my loved ones. Leaving for this trip was the most exhilarated I've ever felt, starting an adventure. The first stop was the Daintree. I spent a couple nights in the swag before the big push north. I went to Port Douglas and had a look around before I decided to push on and wild camp that night. I woke up the next day to discover I had a flat tyre. This was an issue because I was about 75 k's from the nearest town. After asking around, I found a local bloke who was running a shop and he surprisingly had everything I needed because he had an old BMW he'd been planning to ride up north to. After hundreds of more kilometres off-road, I found that my bike needed a drink of oil, and this wasn't cheap at the last petrol station before the telly track. The 100 kilometres of the telly track took us 2 solid days with deep water crossings and epic terrain. At one point, pushing my bike through water that was so deep it was up to the handlebars. After taking the ferry across the Jardine, we camped out on the beach and I got the bike ready for the final push to the north. It was a great feeling parking my motorbike in the most northern car park in all of Australia. After this, we walked to the tip and got a few photos. Some guided trips up north can cost upwards of $6,000. After shipping my bike back to Cairns and selling it, the total cost to me was less than $1,000. This included shipping, maintenance, fuel, food, and other supplies I needed for the trip. What did I learn on this trip? Reducing weight and moving it as low as possible dramatically improved how the bike handled off-road. Just give it a go. You don't need an expensive adventure bike to do an adventurous trip. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing for parts 2 and 3 of Upright Adventure. Remember, keep it upright.